Mm. Hi guys, you there?
You there?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Could you also, oh, video, here we go.
Just one
Just
second.
one second.
How do I switch this around?
I can hear myself on the other side. Can you try to use headphones or something?
Oh, let me see. We do not have any headphones to connect. Let me get the camera.
I think it's okay now.
Okay,
great.
is that all right? Cool. What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Here, let me turn up the volume just a little bit. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, sure.
Actually maxed out on the volume.
Okay, so we're finally here now, and it's been already a week since the album's been released, has it?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, how are you guys? How are you guys feeling about this? Like, how has been the feedback, the fan feedback, and the critical feedback for you, for both of you?
I mean, fan feedback's been great so far. People are digging it. I mean, the records are almost already sold out on Motor Punk Records. So the people watching this, go get some.
So it's been already sold out. I mean, like it's been like just 1 week. Can you imagine that? And people still I still see people posting that album on social media. Whether it's on Facebook or Instagram stories and everything. So just wanted to ask you guys really quickly about the oral making of Tales of Mayhem. Like this album really kind of stand out to me because I was also always a big fan of like the first wave of black metal, of course, a lot of Venom and Hellhammer, and of course, a lot of the new wave of British heavy metal stuff. And this album really kicks ass because it's got a lot of that, very necro, but that old 80s necro sound production. Can you guys tell me a bit on how did you manage to get that sound specifically?
Well, a lot of it just comes from using Marshall amplifiers, which that's the big thing for the tone. We didn't want to sit there and just use, modern miking techniques. We wanted to make it sound big and empty in the room. So we would put the microphone a few feet away from the amps. We would do all that, and then we made sure to get a fine tape sound after we recorded it on GarageBand because we don't want to use any. We don't want to spend a bunch of money on real DIs. We just want to make use of what we got. And GarageBand's worked for me before. But that, obviously with that, you get kind of a clean sound when you just use that. So we ran it through tape and then spit it back out, and it sounds old. Sounds like it came from tape.
We originally wanted to record all three of us together, but with Tyrant living in Tampa right now, we couldn't really do that. So we recorded all the tracks separately, which wasn't ideal, but it got the job done.
Yeah, he recorded his drums in a home studio in Tampa, which I mean, we never even figured out where it was. So that's why it's just credited on the album as a random home studio in Tampa.
Yeah.
But then I recorded right here at my home, just in the garage, bass, vocals, and guitars, and just ran it real quick. The final drum recordings didn't get done until 3 days before the release of the album. And I mixed it all that night. So
yeah, it's funny because or I originally thought that Tyron was also like present there during the recording of the album because everything sounds like it was recorded on place. Because everything's just got like this that demo quality. It's like I already said before, this has like that like the first two Venom albums as well as their demo tapes as well, because it really sounds like you guys were all there in that one room recording that whole thing together. And I think like when you were doing that album, like did you really feel that some kind of presence there in the room with you, like that something was going on?
I mean, I haven't even met the guy since after the album was recorded. So we actually recorded to, we didn't record to his drums. We recorded to the demo drums that were just programmed, and he recorded after we put them in. So
that was actually for only a few of them, remember? There was some of them where we did record over his drums specifically, but then the last bit, because the studio time got cut off because the guy recording him, he had stuff he had to do. Yeah. So the first few tracks we recorded over his drums, and then the other ones we just had to go program some drums and then go overlay his tracks over ours, which I mean, You know, you'll have to guess which ones they are because I don't think you can hear too much of a difference. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean some milk.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really see that you guys are pretty much going back to the old days when people were not, you know, how should I say, frustrated to have as much perfect sound as they can possibly make. Because if you can forgive me on this, but I always had like this issue lately over the past couple of years that the U.S. metal scene was too much, you know, all about originality, too much talking about originality, and or also having as much as of a polished sound and also as polished music as possible. There's a lot of pretentiousness going on here and there. And when you guys showed up, it was pretty much like you were basically just saying "fuck you" and then just kicking right up the ass with the album that just came out. Would you agree?
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we just absolutely hate. I loathe the modern production. Like it steals away from music, especially metal. Metal's supposed to be something that's raw and scary sounding. It's supposed to sound like, you know, a fucking motorcycle like peeling out on your fucking face. It's not supposed to sound like a clean, pristine white room like all these, you know, shitty modern metalcore and new metal bands record the music video in like a white room, just kind of hanging around with no amps and stuff. It's not what metal's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to sound like you're playing through a glass window. It's supposed to sound like you're playing in a big, empty stadium, fucking or giant cave. It's supposed to sound raw and dirty.
Yeah, that's like the very big human factor that's been kind of taken away after everything became so like digital and processed after so many years. And yeah, you're definitely right about that part where you said that everybody's like, when everybody records a music video, it's always like in just this one studio room where it's just like no color whatsoever, no amplifiers, anything. Just like it's basically like they're trying to make like a rap music video when but instead you just put on some guys with guitars and like the doofiest haircuts possible. But I think that if you guys like would come up with the music video, it would be like some this very weird VHS recording that would just like be a nice throwback.
We definitely have plans for that.
That's the plan. We're planning on recording maybe 3 or 4. Hopefully, within about a month or so. Well, won't be released within about a month, but hopefully within a month we can start recording them and, you know, getting some stuff done because, you know, we want to show off the kind of aesthetic that we want to replicate in our music videos, give people because we have little promos here and there that, you know, do a decent job of showing people the kind of aesthetic we're about. But you know, full-length music videos, those will really kick it down.
Yeah, but also on the other side, I have to say that you know, this album is really met with a lot of simplicity because there's a lot of catchiness to it as well because of the riffs and everything. There's not like it's not like one of those instances where you can just hear the album and say, okay, this album is trying to be something, but it's not anything. Like it's not that because you have like very headbanging tunes like Slut, Wehrmacht, and of course the title track as well, your self-titled track as well, and I would say even Witch's Dance, which was released as a single and Into the Hellmouth as well. So you got nice, very solid material on here. But I really want to know, were you guys ever facing some sort of challenges while you were making Tales of Mayhem?
Well, the drums was probably the main one. The reason we didn't get them until 3 days prior was because EJ or Tyrant actually recorded all the drums good. But when we were finally mixing it, we realized that a couple songs were not recorded to the right demos. So he had to scramble and record, like, kind of like really getting this guy's ear to make him record him before the album. And oh,
I was about to say you had to go back into the studio about like 9, 10, 11 p.m. one night.
Yeah.
So it was a real last minute thing.
that's really the only mishap. Well, for me though, actually, the solo to 50 megatons, that took me a real long time to record. I just couldn't. You know, I could do it. Blake said it sounded good, but to my ear, it didn't. So I was recording that. I recorded that probably about 15 times before the final take.
Yeah, those are those kind of difficulties when you face as a guitarist because you want to nail that solo right just to get that real feeling. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And generally, I really wanted to ask you guys about this whole background of Interceptor, because I haven't really come across anybody asking you these questions. Like, what were you guys initially planning to do as a band? Like, what kind of goals did you have as to what kind of sound did you want to come up with, or kind of the energy that you wanted to resonate through the music?
This guy.
Yeah, well, so when I originally started Interceptor, it's funny enough because Hellmouth is the remainder of what I wanted to start it as. But so I loved thrash metal at the time. That was my favorite genre, just the old, like 87 was the best year. So when I started out Interceptor, I wanted to sound like Persecution Mania right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Flash's Power and Pain. I wanted to sound a little bit like Kill 'Em All. I just wanted a straight thrash sound. But at the time too, I was figuring, I really, uh, man,
Bless you, man.
I really also dug this game called Ace Combat Zero. It was on our PlayStation 3. It was a jet fighter game, and it was one of my favorite games growing up. And so I wanted us to be themed as like an Ace Combat, not exactly by the game, but like
Yeah.
air combat type of themes, like all our songs about fighter jets and aerial combat and stuff. And that's what Into the Hellmouth was. It was our first song like that. The demo was pretty different from the album version, but that was kind of the one remainder of what we wanted to start out was fighter jet themed thrash metal, and then slowly just kind of like our sound kind of traveled back in time a little bit, and then here we are with the new wave of British heavy metal and speed metal, first wave black metal sound. Thing is, I feel like we pull from a good few genres, because I see thrashers that like our music. I see the new wave of traditional heavy metal crowd like some of our music. We've got black metal fans like our music. Our music's ended up on some big black metal playlists, and I mean, so that's why I say we're just violent metal. Because at the end of the day, if you see videos of us playing on stage, we're pretty damn violent, thrashing around.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I remembered, how I actually discovered you guys. Somebody posted that video on a story. It's like, POV, you came to the Interceptor gig, and you, Blake, you were like shredding that bass like crazy. I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's stuff is nuts.
Go. Tyrant recorded that video before he was in the band. He came up to
Wow.
us. He was a fan. We came down to Tampa. This was when we had Double A and Poltergeist in the band. We played in Tampa. It was a great show, but Tyrant was down there, and he was actually a fan at the time. And he's the one who got that video and a few others, and he made it look, it was real wild in there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that if you take that video, I mean, not just the video, but the whole performance, and the fact that you just released your new, like, your first full-length album that was very highly anticipated. Even here in Serbia, fans were actually like wondering, when is this band gonna fucking come out with the fucking debut album and everything? When everything kind of exploded and everything happened all at once, and you kind of encompassed that everything, I just keep saying to myself, damn, these guys are more Venom than Venom is today. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's the thing, is we don't necessarily want to capture one band's sound, because Venom, while they are one of our biggest influences, we also take influence from bands like Tank, Motorhead, of course. Motorhead's a real big one. Tank, Motorhead, Warfare, even Carnivore here and there, and a little bit of Maiden with stuff, and other bands too going forward. Hell, I mean, even 50 Megatons is inspired by Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slut inspired by AC/DC. It's something where some people immediately just like write us off as hell, Venom clone and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I mean, for a little bit we were pushing a little bit too close to that, but I think we're trying to find, go towards our own sound while still sticking to the rawness and the power that Venom had, the rock and roll sound, but just evil rock and roll, not just getting like. I think with what we're doing right now, we're on track to fully develop into our own thing while still sticking to, the raw heavy metal classic sound that we got.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I actually mentioned in the review. I said you can tell that there's more stuff than just Venom. You can tell that there's tank warfare, Angel Witch, and of course like Discharge and GBH of the hardcore punk stuff as well. Because let's be honest, that's one of the things that kind of basically built the foundation of this violent heavy metal sound that we would be calling today black metal, or as first wave black metal as it is. And of course, about the fact that somebody calls you a Venom clone. I mean, I actually read the review that some other guy on the Metal Archives that basically left a 0%.
That guy right there, man, let me tell you about this guy. Every post that we make, every post that someone makes about us, every comment that we make, every comment that someone leaves about us, that guy right there, his name is Zach. He goes by, his username is Slam on TikTok.
He's our biggest fan.
He's our biggest fan. He comments on every single post, reply, comment, everything that mentions us. In all honesty, we're thinking about, send him an Interceptor prize package for just his dedication to always replying to anything that mentions us. That review was not a serious review. He just hates us that much for his own personal reasons. If you go look at the reviews that he's left 90% ratings on Lorna Shore and other deathcore bands. He's got a personal vendetta because I'm pretty sure I've insulted the deathcore bands that he likes in the past, and took it way too much to heart, and not just being a baby about it. But no, I mean, I appreciate him very much for always having, just a dedication to replying to every single comment and post that mentions us, including our own.
Damn. Like, okay, the part where you said that he's really into Lorna Shore, I'm like, oh my God, that band, I really don't want to offend anyone. I actually don't give a shit if I do. But honestly, that band has been so overblown and talked about, like so hyped to death that I was like, fuck off, because I didn't listen to fucking Hellhammer and Sarcophago just so Lorna Shore can be considered as one of the very primary black metal acts, even though it's like nothing to do with black metal at all. It just got some elements of it, but it's still metalcore and deathcore and whatever. But when I saw what that guy is, and I saw, oh, he's like into slam and grindcore and everything, like, well, no wonder this guy doesn't like Interceptor.
Exactly. And that's a lot of people too, is because at the end of the day, when I look at our fans, for the most part, they're real headbangers. They're the people that you see out. They're keeping it true. And then I look at the people that hate us. I go look at their videos, the videos they're making. They're the guys wearing them big 2000s jeans with the real big like triple X t-shirt, like sitting there like doing this, like the rap photos, and like they're slam fans, new metal fans, all this crap. And it's like at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't want those our fans. It's like, some bands are too afraid of alienating some people. And I say that's not who we want to be our fans. I don't want people to look at them and be like, yeah, that's an Interceptor fan right there, dude. Like,
I'd rather have 100 loyal fans than 1,000 fans who just follow you on TikTok and come to your show and just look the other way. Just
sit there and just
go to
stand
the
there
bar, just chill.
Yeah, it's like no, that's one of the things that I really hate about social media, is that people kind of feel very entitled when they kind of say that they are into that band, like not really, just because they jumped on the hype train and that's it. But about the caps and the shorts and everything, like, trust me, whenever I see that guy, I can't imagine a person like that climb on stage. Would you believe me? When I interviewed Bobby of Pentagram, he said every time he sees a guy like that climb on stage, he's like, well, this guy looks like he's on a fucking day off. Like, how am I supposed to take this seriously? There's like no stage presence whatsoever. And like, imagine 50 or 100 of those bands on stage, and you just, like, honestly, you just really have to be very, low-minded level person to, be into that. But of course, with Interceptor, like I said, there's a lot of kids here in Serbia that really dig you guys, like 15, 14, 16-year-olds and whatever. And they're really getting into this stuff. And honestly, I don't recall, seeing local kids be into a band that's like just coming up and everything. And, they're really digging this stuff. It's not like, oh, this band sounds like a Venom and it's cool and everything. It's like, no, they're like these guys fucking kick ass. You know, it's honest. And like you, Johnny said, just like, I'd rather have 100 fans who are loyal than 1,000 fans or just newcomers or whatever, just to have their hands crossed and look at you for like the next 40 to 50 minutes, like when you're performing on stage.
See, that's great because people's perspective of metal has been jaded like the last 20 years. Like what it used to stand for and what it used to be was just, you know, angry people, you know, just I'm gonna kick your ass, shit like that. But now it's just like you said, the people with the baggy jeans, and it's just not the same. And it's great that there's young kids that aren't just falling into that, you know, type of metal and just like staying true to what it used to be. It's great that there's young kids still out there that are, you know, liking that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I say I've had people tell me before, like, oh, all your fans are kids and stuff. I'm like, we're kids too. We're 18, 19 years old. Most of our fans, I mean, they're anywhere from 14 to, you know, 16, 17. That's like the majority of our fans I've noticed. And that's the thing is, I mean, we'd rather have these kids that are up there banging their heads. I mean, so what? They're practically our peers. We'd rather have these kids up there banging their heads than some old bald guy just sitting up there doing the Benito muscle in.
Those are the guys who are going to be longtime fans. When they listen to us as kids, they're going to listen to us as adults.
Yeah, they'll be able to buy records for them. Them old dudes are going to die too quick.
Yeah,
They won't be around.
exactly.
Yeah, just really have to say that you know, kids like that, you can, even if they aren't into vinyl, you know, at least you can expect them at some point that they will, you know, pick up a vinyl on a gig and something, and they'll take it home. But when you see those guys at like the big shows, like those bigger bands that we're not into, you will almost never ever see them buy a fucking CD, at least a CD, or I mean, they might buy a shirt, okay, but buying a physical CD, there is something really so special when you hold that in your hands. And it's not like when you have that album downloaded on Spotify, because you know, it's like you don't have that album, like you don't touch the cover, you don't see the band pictures and everything. That's one of the things that really got me into, you know, collecting vinyls at the age of 20, because I wanted to, you know, really feel it. And that's the human factor of it. And I really think that you don't get that much from contemporary bands. You get that from old school metal bands like you guys do.
That's right. That's the thing is I've noticed that, you know, while record sales are back on the rise again, it seems like metal bands the ones who sell the most records and cassettes. Actually, we've sold more cassettes already than we have with records. Well, not more cassettes. We've sold a higher percentage of the cassettes than we have the records. And whether that be just because it's cheaper or whatever, but I think people like they like to hold the music in their hands. These days, yeah, like you mentioned, the digital, you just get to look at it on your screen and that's it. Your hands, you just, but no, with the physical music, you get to hold it, you get to hear it, you get to look at, like, you know, everything inside, you get to see the band. And sometimes what's cool about it is you don't get to see all that much about the band. You don't get to go on the social media, learn every single thing. You see the image that they gave out, and you're like, oh man, like that right there, that's not this guy, he doesn't live here, he does this for a job, he does this. You just say, that's that guy.
He's
this
cool.
he plays this instrument for this band, and these are the songs that he played on. And then that's it. And then that's the image you have in your mind. And you don't, like, while you almost feel closer knowing them not on a personal level and knowing them from, you know, what you see on the record than you do from social media and just digital music.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very kind of ensuring and kind of heartwarming fact when you see, you know, kids do the same thing when they buy records. You know, it really throws you back in time when people were actually, you know, wanting to kind of connect with the band as much as they possibly can. I mean, nowadays people can connect with the band just because they have social media. But I think that there's something much more magical when you buy that record and take it home. It's like, that's the DNA imprint of the band that's right sitting in the corner of your room alongside with that album cover. You know, it's not like when you just download it, you can basically raise the download after a while, but when you get bored of the album. But when you have it like on vinyl or a cassette, you're like, I haven't listened to this one in a while. I can take it with me and just put it on my record player, and that's it. And honestly, I really have to, kind of wonder what kind of stuff can you guys come up with next? Because really, this is, like you said, a wild and violent heavy metal record, and I can only see this getting more violent and more wild than it was like on the first time. Like with the demos and everything, it was gradually building up, and once the album finally came out, it's like this is really taking shape, like almost like a final form. So, what are you guys currently planning after this album's been out for some time?
Well, I know we've got the Gulf tour, which is we figured we not want to dive into the deep end of touring and start off with a 2 week tour. We're just doing 4 dates across the Gulf Coast of the United States. We're hitting Tampa, Pensacola, Lafayette, Louisiana, and then Houston. And it's all spots where bands like us are around. Like for each one, we pretty much pick shows where we've got, at least for the most part, old school sounding bands, because we want to stimulate the rising scene for that as much as possible. Just because there's so many bullshit bands. Like, I mean, we played with great bands and very nice fellas, but it is not our scene sometimes at all. We played shows with some guys. They sounded like one of the bands at our local church, like the local mega church band, and they were a metalcore band. It was just real strange. I figured we might as well pack out a place, or just not pack out a place. We might as well just get people out there that are the real and true fans, rather than just getting some, like we said before, just some random folks just standing there like. We don't want those kind of people at our shows. Up front, we want all the kids banging their heads. We want everyone to be up there just going wild, going crazy. We don't want people standing around. So I figure this next record too that we come out with, hopefully we can get it out within under a year, just because I'd like to keep a solid flow of music coming. But it's gonna be heavier, faster. And when I say heavier, I don't mean, oh, we're gonna break up 7-string guitars and just none of that crap. I just mean the power that you feel through the music. Because I'll tell you, stuff by Witchfind. Witchfind is, they're about as heavy as AC/DC, and when you think about it in the modern heaviness terms. But at the end of the day, they're heavier than a band like Slipknot or like Lorna Shore with their breakdowns and stuff like that. People can sit there and be like, oh, they're so heavy. And it's like, no, a band like Witchfind is heavier than that, just because they've got the rock power to them. That's what it's about. So, second record is going to have a lot of that. Hopefully, be out on, and we'll just keep putting out music. We'll keep writing awesome songs. Just keep putting out, the heavy, evil rock and roll.
Yeah, well, I really like the fact that you mentioned Witchfind, because I always looked at Give 'Em Hell as one of those like very quintessential new wave of British heavy metal albums, because it's heaviness through intensity, and I always think that a lot of people don't take that term heavy the right way, because I always said there has to be like a nice balance of intensity, and also if you can give a nice like musical suspense to it, like it keeps you on edge and everything. I think it really is like more effective than a breakdown, because a breakdown is like, okay, I can imagine this almost any band doing, but the way how somebody like throws in that moment, like Witchfind does in any of their songs from the first album, it really is like very occult, and it's atmospheric as well. You have to mention that as well, that it has atmosphere, it has a genuine feeling. And about being as heavy as AC/DC, I mean, you're right. I mean, I think they're basically like come from the same cloth, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just wanted to go like heavier in that term.
Yeah, exactly. What you mentioned about the atmosphere, though, that is a big part of our music, because, and not just our music, but music in general. Because these days, you'll listen to a band, and especially with black speed metal bands, especially with them, so many bands do not get the atmosphere and the aesthetic down. They sit there and they'll, I mean, bands like Bat, they got the right idea, but they don't have the right execution of it, because yeah, they're playing the black speed metal, but they do not have the atmosphere at all. It literally, it's like they're trying to play stuff like like they're trying to play that stuff, but with like Slipknot kind of production and atmosphere. Like it is so modern and clean. And the problem with that is the modern record labels, because we've got buddies in a similar band and they wanted it to sound raw. And Metal Blade told them, no, you have to make it sound clean so you can appeal to a more mainstream audience. And so these big record labels that once were, a bastion of real true metal are now, all they're doing is stimulating sterile, just overproduced, crap that doesn't have the same atmosphere. When literally all they're doing is taking away from the music, and they're taking away from fans that would truly enjoy the music, and then giving it all to the fans, not even fans, giving it all to just mainstream people. Like, yeah, this is kind of cool, man. All right, I'm gonna go listen to some Slipknot now. Like,
You can play all the right notes, but if you don't have the right atmosphere, you're not taking somebody to a place that they're not. When someone listens to our album, like when they listen to Wehrmacht or something, they feel like they're in the middle of a battlefield. And that's what we want it to be. It's all about the atmosphere, because you can't just play the notes and run through the motions.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's the problem with consumerism in metal nowadays. It really destroyed the human factor of it. It's like you mentioning Metal Blade, and it really is like that. You have like a nice band catalog over there, but of course, on the other hand, you like have those bands that really just seem that they want to appeal to a wider audience just because of the production side of things. That's one of the things why I don't like bands doing their albums at Andy Sneap studio, because as much as I love the early stuff he did with Sabat, I don't really like his production. It's very sterile, and it's not, it's like they're trying to really just make the perfect record from the production standpoint, not from the performance standpoint as well, because I think that people really should feel the heaviness of the riffs as they are, not the way how it's produced. And I think that's it's really impossible to revolt against that. But the fact that there is this always cult underground movement, standing up for itself, it really brings hope, because these guys don't really care that much. It's like we're all simple people. We don't care about these things. We just want to have fun, and that's one of the things that I really like a lot about you guys and your fans and everybody else who's like getting into bands that are in the similar vein as Interceptor.
definitely.
So yeah, okay, guys, we're almost out of time. So the last thing I just wanted to say that look, it's been really nice talking to you, and I really hope that we'll get a chance to share a beer and something, or see you guys perform live. If you ever come to Europe in any place, I would really love to see you guys perform. I think it's going to be very wild. And just wanted to ask you, are there like any final words that you'd like to leave for all the fans?
Go buy Tales of Mayhem before it's sold out. That's the biggest one. Stick around, because we got a lot of stuff coming. We'll be coming to Europe. Hopefully.
The metal only gets more violent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, the metal only gets more violent, like he said. And what else? What's the final last message? Stay heavy.
Don't conform to the Metal Blade standards.
Yeah, don't sit there and play your music all crappy. Play music loud, play it raw, play it rude. Go, smash beer cans on your face, stuff like that. Don't be one of these modern pussies.
Do what real metal was intended to do.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have fun, and hopefully I'll get to see you in the near future.
Oh yeah, man.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers, guys. Bye.